All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the broadcast. This is the Tuesday, June the 27th, 2017 edition of the Global Reality. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. Hope everybody's doing good out there, and hope you're ready for another edition of the broadcast here. Lots of stuff to talk about and get into with you on the show tonight. So, again, thanks for being here. TheGlobalReality.com is my website. And that's how you can go and find our stuff. You also can find us on Facebook. I don't do Twitter or any of that stuff, just Facebook. But we have a couple of pages up over there. The Global Reality Radio Network page. And the Josh Reeves filmmaker talk show, filmmaker, radio host, and explorer page. Both of those you can add us on Facebook. And that's where we post links to, most updated stuff, fundraisers, stuff like that. All that stuff can be found there at our Facebook pages. So definitely go over there and add us if you haven't yet. And add both of those as well. So we post different stuff there. And if you're, like I said, I have problems, my guy that does the website stuff for me is not always available. So he still hasn't, even though I gave it to him a couple of weeks ago, he still hasn't got this month's fundraising banner up on the website yet. So if you're looking for that, you can find that here in the video. Links in the video. You can also find it on our Facebook pages there as well. But if you happen to be looking for that, like I said, he was supposed to have it up a few weeks ago. It's not been up yet. So, and I suspect that's going to be the case for a while unless I get somebody else to do it or whatever. So just for now, when we have stuff like our fundraisers, just look for them on the links and the links to the video, the read more section. I'll also additionally put them in the comment section too. But the reason I have to do that is because if I just put them on the info section of the video, people, where is the link? I can't find it. Just like when I did the show a few weeks ago, I put right there in the information, big bold letters, we had a problem with the show. It was garbled, but I tried to save it because it was better than no show. Still people, why is it garbled? They just don't read. So that's the other thing. So I'll try to put the links to the fundraisers and whatnot in redundant places so you can find them. But we always put them up on our Facebook pages and then, of course, in the links to the video. So there you go. And don't forget also you can contribute to our work by going to the donate button if you don't want to use PayPal. You want to use a credit card, debit card, or like a Visa prepaid card, that you go and put any amount on that you want. You can do that way. You can also get those kind of Visa cards like that and just send me the numbers as well, and I can process them manually that way, because some people don't like to use, some people only use cash, and people have always tried to use that excuse with me. Oh, well, I don't use PayPal, I don't use bank. So, well, that's no excuse. And it's funny, as soon as didn't give them that excuse, they still didn't contribute. So, that, of course, that was a lie, just like a lot of these people just, that's the main thing is, not everybody can afford to contribute. I understand that. But what I just don't like when people make, just don't lie about it. That's the thing. You don't have to lie and make up stuff. Oh, I don't have a bank and I don't use PayPal. Well, that's okay. You can go and, 7-Eleven, a lot of gas stations, pharmacies, Walmart. I mean, pretty much anywhere sells those Visa gift cards now. And you put any amount you want, they're just basically, they're like a prepaid card, essentially. And you can buy those with cash. So, anyway, I like to put that out there just so people know that there are options if you don't want to use PayPal, even though that's what we prefer. And, all our stuff goes through that. So we can keep track of everything easier, especially when we have orders and stuff. And also, there is a thing I don't tell people about that much, but you can do this. We have a couple of people who do this. Thank you to those people who do this. But it's separate from the membership for the archives. If you scroll down, there's like a recurring donation membership thing. It's got a box with some different amounts. If you scroll down on the right, it's on the right-hand side of my website, kind of down a little bit below where all the other contribution banners and stuff are at. But what that is if you want to, if you want to make a contribution, some people like to make a monthly contribution. They come back and they do it monthly or whatever. But what you can do is, with that monthly contribution thing, you can set an amount. You can choose any one of the amounts that are there, but you can also choose your own amount. And let's say it's $50 or whatever, or $100 or $1,000 or whatever you want to do. You can go in there and you can choose an amount, and then every day on that month, on that day of every month, that contribution will come out. And then if you get busy like me and stuff, you get busy, you don't have time to, you want to continue to contribute, but sometimes you don't have time to remember to come back and do it. That's a great option to do that. And we do have a couple of people that do that. So, and I don't tell people about it quite enough, but that's what you can do there. And that will ensure that we continue to get, contribution that you want to make, even if you get busy with life or whatever else happens. And it's easy to cancel at any time. If you do it for 6 months and you don't want to do it anymore, can't do it anymore, you can cancel it anytime, whatever. So there you go. There's that. We are coming up on our 10-year anniversary. It's coming up very soon. As you know, I'm continuing to do my work on the Spellcasters Volume 2. I won't bore you with all that stuff. It's the usual stuff. Slave to the chain and, the usual stuff I tell you about. But we are coming up on our 10-year anniversary in September. We're planning on, after the Spellcasters 2 is done now, putting together some kind of 10-year anniversary box set of all my films and all my works and stuff. We'll have more details on that as we know, and I'll have more details on the Volume 1 discs and stuff for Spellcasters as soon as I know it. I'm still waiting. We're looking a couple of more weeks. We're finally, I think, getting close to be able to have the artwork done or whatever. I got to check back with the guy, so probably going to be 2-3 more weeks on that, just for people who've been wondering. But again, our 10-year anniversary is coming up. 10 years. It's 10 years of the films, because I released my first film, 9/11 New World Rising, in September 2007, and also subsequently started this radio show that same month. And as many of you know, as I've talked about here, we've, everything that's been the most difficult thing about doing this. This has been the most difficult task I've ever done in my life, is doing this work and doing this research and trying to keep it going. It's been tougher than anything I've ever done. But what are you going to do? There's so very few people out there that are willing to put their lives and their livelihood and just everything. And I've put it all on the line for this. That's one thing that you could never be said about me, is I've always 100% always put it on the line, and yeah, it's affected my life in detrimental ways, but that's it's part of it. But we get the operating costs. We barely scrape by every month with that. And with the films, we always put way more into the films than we even get close to making back. We never even break even on these films. We never make enough back to even pay for the next one, which is really all our ultimate goal is, with these things, is just to be able to keep the films going and everything. We did reach our fundraising goal for our Spellcasters Volume 2, so thank you to everybody who contributed for that. And yeah, it's definitely exciting. That's why I've just been, when you get radio silence from me from like a week at a time, you don't see anything new posted, just know that means I'm balls deep in this in these filmmaking. I don't even have time to get up here and talk to you. That's what that means. So I'm not ignoring you. I'm not neglecting the show. It's just this stuff requires laser focus and requires it's hard. It's tough, man, because just little things distract you, sounds and fucking all kinds of shit. It just really requires you to put yourself in almost a Zen monk like mode to make these, at least for me, because I'm having to do every aspect. I'm sure it's not that way for other filmmakers who have this stuff delegated out to 150 different people, all working on a different task, and then you just pull it all together and it's easy. But when you're one person and I have to delegate all the tasks to myself, it can be challenging. But I'm just, this film's just, I can't even put words. I think there's a lot of people out there, maybe not everybody, but there are a lot of people I know out there, because you've told me, a lot of people out there who've been wanting this film for a long time, because I've kind of, I've hinted at this stuff and I've talked about and done shows on a lot of this stuff, the pieces of this stuff, But I think this is going to be, I think, the real first all-encompassing look at the music side of things, and its role in mind control, and its role in what's the word? Like the Tavistock Institute, like what do you call that? Social engineering. That's really, I mean, we're going to show a lot of this stuff, and also its connections to the CIA and their techniques for assassinations that they use, and just, so many musicians' deaths that people just take at face value in the official story. They have no idea that there's information to the contrary just out there. I mean, it really is unbelievable. But again, this being our 10-year anniversary and whatever, we're having we just all of our equipment, man. There's just so, we like I said, we don't even break even on the films. We barely scrape by every month, and we have nothing left over to upgrade the equipment. And now that I've been doing this for 10 years, my equipment is, it's old, needs to be upgraded, and not just upgrading stuff. This is the 10 years. I'm ready to kick this off for another 10 and beyond. But I want to continue. That's what we've always done here. If you watch my films, the progression of my films, they keep getting better and better, but that's only possible, if we get the tools and the equipment that we need to be able to do that, because that's my plan now, is to start kicking this up. I want to create webisodes and like my own, what, fuck it. Nobody's going to, I've had offers. I've had all these offers and all these people from fucking TV shows talk, there's been 7 or 8 times I've been contacted by multiple different networks. They always got some show they're developing that they want me to be on, and then nothing ever comes of it. I mean, it's happened like 10 times. It's happened so many times I don't even mention it anymore on air, because I did that. I made the mistake of doing that when it first started happening back in like 2010, 2011, and then, so many of them just don't. There's been, I can't even remember all of them. The most interesting, I guess, the last one, I don't know if I've even told this story. This was about a year before any of the flat Earth stuff started breaking out, and it hadn't become a thing yet. There weren't. I don't want to name the names, but the people who are pushing that now had not started pushing it yet, and it was hadn't become a thing yet. Really, I mean, of course, the idea's been there for forever. I understand that, but I just mean the new resurgence of it. So about a year before the new resurgence of the flat Earth stuff happened that we're currently seeing. And one of these people that had contacted me previously about these gazillion different shows that they said they were developing, that they wanted me to be on. There was one that was being developed by some big network, maybe ABC or A&E or something. There was somebody like that was interested at one point. And they were going to develop it was supposedly going to be some shows about the Illuminati. And they wanted me to be like the main host of this show with like a rotating round table of different people talking about this stuff. Where I guess they'd have a different subject every episode or whatever. That nothing ever came of that. But prior, just about a year before the whole flat Earth stuff broke out, I got contacted by the same people. And they asked me if I wanted to go on a Russian Antarctic icebreaker, those big ships, those massive fucking, just I guess nuclear powered fucking, I don't know, giant Russian ship that breaks through ice, to film for a reality show that was an expedition to try to go to Antarctica to find the entrances to inner Earth that Admiral Byrd supposedly found. And I was like, nah, nah, I'm good. I've heard the stories. A lot of people who go on those type of expeditions don't come back. They do not. They don't. And she seems kind of. It was odd. She seemed kind of taken aback that I knew that. And then she said, "Well, what if we did this and we went on other places to look for inner Earth and this, that, and the other, and we could just have like you could be in it up to the point where we're going to go to on the icebreaker ship, and then like we'll just make like a big, like they do in those shows, like a big stage dramatic thing where I'm like, fuck y'all, I'm out, fuck this shit, I'm not going on that fucking thing." But really, people, dude, every time somebody tries to send an expedition out there, I mean, there's ones we haven't even heard of, but most people haven't even heard about. Something fucking always happens, or they send a fucking SEAL team out and take out everybody on the ship, and then nobody ever hears anything about it. It's a suicide mission, essentially. And it was almost like she was thinking I didn't know that, because she seemed kind of shocked. It was odd. She seemed kind of shocked that I knew that. And then so she started changing her tune. Well, we could do this, and we could go to Mount Shasta, or this, that, and the other. And so I said, okay, whatever. And then she, it seemed like she said it was like seriously like going forward. And she also said something about flat Earth. And I'm like, flat Earth? And she's like, yeah. She's like, what do you think about that? I'm like, I don't think anything about it, really. I mean, what? She seemed disappointed in that. And so then after that, she wanted to do a Skype conferencing. So we did a Skype conference, and it was on video. And she, it was odd. She was asking me these different questions. She asked me again about the flat Earth thing, and I was a bit bemused about that. But then it didn't start to make sense until about a year later when all that stuff started breaking out. And everybody's I was like, oh. Somebody at the TV networks, they were trying to push that thing before it even caught fire like it did. It became this big controversial sensation. That, that's the kind of thing, stuff like that, you gain info like that. You gain knowledge like that sometimes just through experience. There's no way to quantify that and put that into a hot link, because everybody in this day and age, if you don't have a hot link for it, then for a piece of information that must not be true. But that happened to me. And somebody in the big networks was trying to push the flat Earth stuff for a good year before it caught fire. So here's where the questions where it was really odd to me. This is what sent my red flag up. She said, "Well, you have a lot of knowledge." This is during the Skype conference, right? It was on video. She says, "Well, you have a lot of knowledge, a lot of information." She's like, "I'm surprised you've never been approached by the CIA and asked to come work for them." And right when she said that, I inside kind of panicked. I just continued to smile and act like everything was normal. But in my head, I kind of panicked, and I kind of got that drop in the feeling of my stomach, because at that moment when she said that, I realized that's what this was. I was like, "So you just told me what this is? This is some kind of this CIA." Either, audition or what, something was connected to the CIA. And she said, "I'm surprised they, with all your knowledge that they've never tried to recruit you or anything. I wonder why that is." And I said, "You wonder why that is?" I said, "Because I'll tell you why that is. Because if they did, I'd do this right here." And I right in the camera, put my fucking big hand with my middle finger straight up to it. And her face, I could see her because it was video, right? Her face dropped and she went dead silent for like a minute. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I see what this is. All right." And that was the last time. And I'd gotten probably 7 or 8 contacts from different, not just her, from other people too, for shows. But never again after that, when I did the whole CIA thing, middle finger thing. And she shut it off after that. So, because it didn't even dawn on me, occur, you know, it didn't. Of course, anything on a major network is at some stage. I mean, either through Viacom or any of these are going to be connected back to those, you know, to the powers that be, to the CIA. I mean, I knew that ahead of time before I did that UK television show. It's on Netflix now. It's been on Netflix for a while. The conspiracy, the Hollywood Files. They flew the fucking film crew in from England here to Dallas to video me, and I just laid it on them. I hammered them. I gave them all the CIA stuff, everything. And I walked out of that room just with the biggest smile on my face, saying, you know, if they let that on TV, which they guaranteed will not in that form. But if they just, you know, if they did, that would have been the fucking greatest piece of television, the most truth you will ever see on television in the history of the world. And of course, there's a reason why I'm not in that very much. It's not that they didn't shoot a lot. They shot a lot, like an hour's worth, right? And I'm not talking about an hour. Think about it. An hour with me, especially in that situation on a video camera, is not going to be just babbling. And plus, I was responding to their questions. It was hard hitting, fucking boom, boom, rapid fire, factual info. And yet, when you watch the finished product, I'm only in it for maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes. Do you know why I'm only in it for a minute or 2 minutes? Because, folks, that's all they could. That's all they could salvage. That wasn't me peppering it with the truth about, you know, the CIA connections and the connections to Scientology, the CIA, MK Ultra, the whole mind control. I mean, I laid it all on them. I had it all laid out, but they wound up with very little actual stuff that their handlers, they loved it. They thought it was good. The guys who were shooting it they said it was fantastic. They were like, this is the best interview we've ever done. It's fantastic. But of course, by the time it gets back to the network and the powers that be and everybody gets their hands on it, of course, it becomes a hatchet job. And then not only a hatchet job, but an attack on me personally, because they say that I claim Scientology killed, what's his nuts, and then at the end of the segment that I'm in, they said, so far Reeves has never provided any information, any evidence to back up his claim. Philip Seymour Hoffman. So they make the judgment and the claim against me and say he's yet never provided any evidence to back up his claim, but yet they don't show any evidence of me saying I think Scientology killed Philip Seymour Hoffman, because I didn't say that. But that's all I get. I mean, it was, I really wish I could get that uncut interview that I did with that information and be able to put that out on the web so people could see it. So, because it would blow you away. And of course, I knew when I did that. Didn't take me 2 seconds to find out. UK TV Channel 5 is owned by who? Sumner Redstone. Viacom. Sumner Redstone was in the OSS and then into the CIA at the same time as L. Ron Hubbard was. He's been a part of the psychological warfare and stuff for years. He got the life extension. That's why that old fuck is still kicking around. And, oh man, it's just good stuff. I mean, literally, I mean, I did like the one thing they did where they had the little recreation of the guy that didn't look like Philip Seymour Hoffman. They should just put me in there. I think I look more like Philip Seymour Hoffman than that fucking jack off they got in that recreation. And I don't look nothing like Philip Seymour Hoffman, but I think I could look more like him. And it was like they got some fucking homeless guy off the street and we're like, here, dude, here's $5. Go fucking here, act like you're doing a drug deal with this guy. It's terrible. You got to laugh at it though, you know. But I'm ready to do this at, at a level that we can control, and we can control the information. I mean, again, I don't want to just sit around and try to wait for some, TV network to give me a show and then cut it all and edit it all. I just want to take it all in my own hands and do my own series, like my version of Ancient Aliens or my version of one of those shows like that, and have different episodes, like a 1 hour episode, and maybe do that more. Still make films, but make these things where it's basically like my own TV show, and we could go out to different sites and stuff like that. But again, that's all of these things require funding and the equipment and everything to do. And I mean, we're running on a 7-year-old computer here at this point, and I mean it's difficult to do it. We just need computer upgrade, studio stuff upgrade, and upgrade to our equipment, music equipment and whatnot for the filmmaking, the soundtracks, and a 4K camera and the accessories and stuff. So you can look, you'll see the 10-year anniversary fundraiser link. We'll have it here in the video. We'll have it various places, but it's up on the Facebook page right now, on both our Facebook pages. Nice little banner there. One of the things I want to tell you about that, you can do the normal contribution thing to that with PayPal or whatever else. But we also, there's lots of great perks and different packages you can get in there for different amounts. And there's also an itemized list there of everything we need and how much it costs and everything. And the 3 websites where I can get all the stuff that I need from is, of course, apple.com, reverb.com for the equipment stuff, the mics and music gear and that stuff, and then amazon.com for the 4K camera and all the accessories, stuff like that. So what you can do is, this is different than any of the other fundraisers that we've done. Never done one like this. This is why I'm taking the time to tell you about it at least once. If you go to the campaign banner for the 10-year anniversary fundraiser and you read the information, it says, this fundraiser is in celebration of Josh's 10 years of filmmaking and broadcasting his show. We are in serious need of computer and equipment upgrades so we can not only continue to bring you quality information, we could do it at a level unavailable to us before now. We will be launching new shows, webisodes on a variety of topics. Below is an itemized list that we need for the total amount of the fundraiser for. In lieu of a cash donation, you can purchase online gift cards, either in partial amounts or full amounts for the things that we need, all of which can be purchased from apple.com, reverb.com, and amazon.com. Please use globalrealityshow@gmail.com as the gift card email address when you purchase the online gift card. So, and then there's links there that'll take you directly to the pages where you can buy the gift cards at. All you do is just put my email address in as the recipient, and you pay for it, put in whatever amount you want, and boom, it goes right to me. So anyway, I wanted to do that with the fundraiser so that you would know exactly what we're trying to get here, exactly how much it costs, and you can, if you don't want to, you can still do the regular contribution to PayPal. If you want to just send that amount in cash, whatever, and we'll put it towards that, you can do that. But for this specific fundraiser, since it is for specific items, I wanted to give everybody the ability to be able to purchase these gift cards and in the amounts that we need for whatever we need. So anyway, there it is. There you go. All right, I had a question here from one of our listeners. He says, "Hi, Josh. I've been burning through the archives and have come up with a question I would love to throw at you. So if we are the result of the Anunnaki making a worker like the work of Sitchin suggests, what do you think demons and angels would be? Would they be something that we as powerful mental beings have created, such as Eidolons? What is your view on this?" Well, it's simple, but it's not simple. Kind of like all of this stuff, really, isn't it? Um, no, it's not really a simple answer, but simply put, multi-dimensional entities. That's, I mean, that's really all of the stuff. Demons, angels, aliens, multi-dimensional entities. We ourselves are multi-dimensional entities, but we are enslaved in the one layer of three-dimensional space in this carbon-based reality. See, this is what I'm saying. This is very difficult to get into, man. I've covered bits and pieces of this stuff on shows going back almost the full 10 years of doing this show. If you haven't heard my reading of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, go to my download shop where we've got all our documentary films at. Lost Secrets of Ancient America, and the Secret Rite films are in there, and also the newest Spellcasters and Spellcasters 1.5. Go in there, get yourself a download of the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. We sell it. It's in there. Support my work. It's only $10. You'll appreciate it, I assure you. If you haven't heard that, that's a lot of the stuff that has to do with that is in there. Multidimensional entities. I mean, this is why when you look at people go on and on about parts of the human brain that are there and aren't used, and they think it's junk or it's well, no, actually, our brains are actually capable of existing in dimensional spaces that are beyond some, not all, but some. We are capable of existing in some multidimensional realities beyond what's currently available to us. But because we haven't been exposed to that dimension and access to that dimension, it's been so long. It's kind of like a muscle or anything. You don't use it for a long time or whatever. You lose it. It's kind of that same kind of thing. It's also why, like, a lot of people, how a lot of people have like psychic powers, abilities, stuff when they're really young, but as they get older, they lose that. It's kind of a similar thing, but yeah, I mean, whether we're talking about demons, angels, multidimensional entities, and multidimensional realities, and the fact that multiple dimensions and multiple realities exist simultaneously with ours, but because with our limited carbon-based machinery, I mean, that's what the soul is, is the life force, the energy, the multi-dimensional being that is enslaved in this dense carbon body. That's what it is. That's why so many ancient and advanced civilizations talk about like the Sanskrit, samsara and or Maya, illusion. So many of these ancient civilizations have words, and it's a very, very huge part of their of all of their understanding and their viewpoint on the world is that, and you see this throughout many different cultures, this idea that physical reality itself is the illusion. That's why there's so many words for the physical plane world as being, Maya, samsara, illusion. And then, of course, stuff that's come out over the past several years, scientific stuff. Scientists now saying we may live in a hologram or, some sort of artificial construct, possibly even inside of a computer system. Who knows? But multidimensional realities. That's really where all of that stuff that people confuse as aliens or demons and all this stuff. That's really where all that nexus and comes together. The real reality, according to many different beliefs and whatnot, is the spiritual reality. So of course these multidimensional entities exist all around us, but we don't have access to those dimensions. But that's what, and I believe whoever, did seed life on this planet, stuff like, hallucinogenic compounds, psilocybin, and naturally occurring ones especially, but DMT, mescaline, psilocybin. That's what those things. This is why the ancient medicine men in native tribes use these. Ayahuasca, that's another one, but it's this, the ability to be able to have a moment where you can glimpse multidimensional realities while still being in the physical existence and alive in a physical body. And that's really what that's why they were used and still are used in ceremonial magic and ceremonial things, spiritual practices. The ability to be able to communicate with entities and beings in these other dimensional spaces. This is where the whole thing with ghosts and spirits and stuff like that come in. It's kind of a two-way street. It's like if you're on, depending on what side of this field you're on, you can't really, if you're in the spiritual realm, just like you see in all the movies, like fucking dead Patrick Swayze and fucking Ghost, She's in there fucking with pottery wheel or whatever, and his ass is like, bitch, I'm out here. I'm alive. Look, boogity, boogity, But they get the same thing. You can't see them say it's these, it's the division of multi-dimensional space. And, of course, the knowledge and existence of this has been one of the fundamental bases for most religions throughout the world, as well as the scientific community and everything else. They don't want us to know it. Again, if everybody knew, think about that. And that's also what the idea of like heaven and hell and all this, it's multidimensional space, man. And what the secret societies know at the highest levels, Rosicrucians, Freemasons, Rosicrucians especially, it's all about this ability to not only transcend the death of the physical body, which I've talked about many times here, but transcend the death of the physical body at will while still maintaining the essence. When we reincarnate, it's like the hard drive's wiped, you start all over again. You carry nothing from the previous incarnation. The elites and the people at the highest levels have figured out, and it goes way, way, way back. Even probably prior to even this planet. That's how old it is. But that, and again, that's what a lot of the, most of the whole tablets of Thoth thing is all about. Is this ability to be able to choose one's next incarnation at will, basically unending, indefinitely. And many of the ancient religious books, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, Egyptian Book of the Dead, which all kind of derive from the same stuff, that's what a lot of this stuff is about. Reading this stuff day after day next to the deceased person, that's what a lot of this stuff talks about. And it talks about these different things, these multidimensional beings that look like giant fucking scary monsters and stuff. All these different beings that have different names that you encounter after death. And how basically they're just there to distract you and to scare you and to get you to use that fear response that you're still holding on to from your previous incarnation on Earth in the physical plane to scare you into going towards the white light. They always say, you're dying. Oh, go to the white. No. Fuck that white light, y'all. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now. Fuck that white light. That white light is not the way to go. That's the way they tell you you're supposed to go, because that white light is the tunnel to come for your ass to come back down here again. Okay, remember this, and remember this after you die. Okay, keep this in your heart. Make this your fucking mantra. Fuck that white light. Okay, just remember that always. And when you're laying there on your fucking deathbed and it's your last minutes, and that you see that, say, fuck that white light. That's not where you want to go. Go somewhere else. Okay, just divert away from that. That's the fucking karmic rat wheel that just keeps you coming fucking back down here again. And the ultimate goal is to circumvent that. And this is exactly what the secret societies and like the Rosicrucians, I mean, that's what the Rosy Cross, I mean, its symbol alone is it. It's the rose on the cross. It symbolizes the soul being crucified upon the body. Spiritual enslavement, soul enslavement. So, whether it was the Anunnaki or whoever these people were in the past, they had, obviously with what we've already seen with the ancient, stuff we found here, we already know they were working with technology well in advance of anything we have right now, and maybe we'll ever have. The Rockwall thing has proved that too. But they also had the ability to be able to in a lot of the L. Ron Hubbard Scientology stuff goes back to this too, with the Xenu stuff, with the dumping of the dead, the dumping of the alien souls in the volcanoes, and you got to think about multidimensional beings, whether you call them angels, demons, aliens. You have to think about this like these things are just floating around. Apparently, according to the stuff that you read, these things are just floating around out there. If we can actually see multidimensional entities with our current 5 sense reality bodies, folks, we wouldn't be able to operate, because that's essentially there are multidimensional entities and beings at every inch of everything, everywhere, all around everything, all at once. And the highest level, this is what got transferred down to stuff like the early Kabbalists and the Jewish mystics, and the ability to create physical plane matter out of the spoken word and stuff like that. This is that stuff that got handed down like that, where the ability to be able to create a physical body, a carbon-based body like humans, and be able to then manipulate multidimensional space where these entities exist in such a way that you could get one of them to inhabit one of these bodies. So when we're talking about advanced technology, we're talking about technology that not only gives them the ability to manipulate this plane of reality, but also multiple planes of reality simultaneously, and able to make them connect. And that's one of the things that you see and hear in stories of people that have experiences with extraterrestrials and abductions and stuff like that. And what people don't really understand is that's I don't know if they're necessarily the same people, but that's why people have these abduction stories, and they think they're going up in a craft. But really, they're not going up in a craft at all. These extraterrestrials have the ability to basically take your soul, your that living essence, and they take that up into the ship, and they manipulate that and then place you back in your body. And this is why people have, even though they've never left their beds, I've woken up with the mystery wounds is what we call, that's what we call them. It's happened to me 5 or 6 times in my life. Not even kidding you. Mystery, where you wake up and like, oh shit, I had surgery last night. Like literally, I had a fucking thing like that on my arm one time. It was no bullshit. It was like somebody went in and did a surgical procedure on me while I was in my sleep and stitched the motherfucker back up. Like, oh, that's nice. But they don't have to necessarily do it. That's the thing. They can do these things to the multidimensional part of yourself, the soul, if you will, the Katra, as the Vulcans on Star Trek called it. Watch that one of those Star Trek movies. That's hilarious. I love how all the fucking Vulcans are always played by Jewish actors. It's always hilarious. And then you see them when they go and they get Spock's Katra on the Genesis. They terraform that fucking planet, and he puts his Katra inside Bones McCoy. And if you watch, they go to the Vulcan and they do it's like a Kabbalistic ceremony. Because, of course, Leonard Nimoy himself said that's where he got the Vulcan hand symbol from. Is he was in a Jewish church when he was young, and they had these ancient Kabbalistic Jewish mystics that were coming in, and they were supposed to put your head down and close your eyes while they were walking around blessing everybody. And he peeked and opened his eyes because he wanted to see what they were doing. And he peeked and opened his eyes, and when he saw them, they were doing the fucking Vulcan, the split the fingers symbol thing. They were walking around and doing that, like, over people's heads as they were bowed and stuff. Like it was, some kind of energy transference thing. So that, of course, if you watch that, it's all in there. And one of the guys even has like an ephod chest plate type thing. I mean, it's very difficult for us to accept things like the multidimensional realities that exist all around us, because we've never been able to really see it. And again, going back to the psychedelics thing, that's I'm not advocating the use of that, but I've done them. I did them when I was younger. I had my experiences with them, and then didn't do them again. But I definitely had some experiences that not all of them I'll tell people about, because of those kind of experiences you shouldn't tell everybody about. When you have a really, truly profound spiritual experience, it's for you. It's not for everybody else. And sharing it with people and stuff, it just cheapens it, and it makes it less special. So never feel obliged. If you have one of those experiences, never feel obliged that you've got to tell somebody about it. Because those things, you can. You just use your best judgment. But, I've had some of those, where I just think, man, if I ever told anybody that, they would think I was out of my mind. But it happened. I mean, I had one like that type of thing on. It actually ties into this, really, now that I think about it. I was probably in my, I don't know, early 20s or so. I'm about to be 41 next week. Jesus Christ. And fucking old over here. This is so profound, and I know I tried getting back to this place again after this, and it wouldn't happen. So that's what made me understand it was real. I was on. I did like, I don't know, a couple of grams of some psilocybin mushrooms, and I was laying on this. I was at a party, but I was kind of out. It was out in the country, and I was kind of out behind this like kind of metal building type thing. And I just wanted to go and chill by myself. So I got this blanket and I kind of like laid down. It was at night. Stars, the sky was full of stars. I wasn't, I wasn't tripping that hard. It wasn't like I've had those psychedelic experiences where you get more than you fucking used to taking. And it's just completely overwhelming experience where it's not even fun. That was not what this was. It was very mellow. It wasn't anything, because I don't know. I'm feeling the need to explain this and say this because I know that as soon as I tell you this story, you're going to think, oh, well, yo, you're tripping balls, dude. And again, that's what I'm saying. It's tough to even tell these kind of stories because anytime you tell the stories to people, they just chalk it up to, oh, you were fucked up and that's why you saw that or experienced that. And I don't think that that's 100% always the case. And of course, when you look back historically and you look back at the usage of these different herbs and whatnot and shamanistic things, yeah, I mean, it's not always the case. It was not about that. But I was kind of laying there and I had this vision. It was the most powerful vision I've ever had. And I was on board this ship. It was so real looking. and it was like a round circular ship, and kind of everybody kind of walked around the perimeter. In the middle of the room was this blinding, was like a hole, and it was in the middle of the room, like a circular hole in the middle of the room. This blinding white light, kind of like what I was talking about a minute ago, going to the white light and stuff like that. And there was about 6 or 7 of these, what I can only describe as disembodied entities. And I shit you not, they looked. I could definitely got the impression they spoke telepathically, and I definitely got the impression, even though they didn't say where they were from, we didn't have that kind of conversation. It was very quick, that they were some sort of extraterrestrials. But they looked. I shit you not, they looked like. And it dawned on me as soon as I opened my eyes, when I was having this vision. As soon as I opened my eyes, I went, "Oh, that's why people always say ghosts look like that, because they look like, how people always take, the old thing of taking a white sheet and you put a white sheet and cut eye holes out of it, and that's a ghost." I mean, why is it that became the image of a ghost when, if you see most of what we see considered to be ghosts are like, apparitions of dead people. So where did this whole white sheet with the eyes cut out thing come from? Well, that's kind of what these extraterrestrials on the ship looked like. And I got it immediately. Oh, I get it now. Ghosts, aliens, whatever, multi-dimensional entities, right? But that's what they look like. They had like black slits for eyes, small little, kind of like a cross between, if you took like what people say grays look like a cross between a gray and a fucking ghost, a sheep ghost, like that. And they told me that this was computer system they had in this ship with this white line in it. They were like punching on computer panels and stuff. They didn't have screens on the computer panels. They were just like buttons that reacted to their fingers or whatever. And they told me that this was the grand organizational design. That's what this system was called they had on the ship. God, the grand organizational design, and that they could create. Because that's essentially what they were doing. They had this like white light thing, and they hit a button, and another one of those like things that looked like them, like a white ghost thing, would appear, and it would immediately get like sucked into the big bright white light thing in the middle of the room. And they basically said that they were seeding people, they were seeding their race or themselves onto Earth into physical bodies using this technology. And right as they told me that, I opened my eyes and I went, well, shit, that's where ghosts come from. And right as I think that, I start to feel my whole entire body, because I was laying on my back when this happened, looking up at the sky when I had the vision. Right as soon as I have this, I feel my entire body start to lift off the ground. And I went, wow, this is cool. This is new. I'm like, man, I'm fucked up. That's kind of what I was thinking, And I slowly started to hover and raise it. And I started to realize after a minute, I was like, do I want to look? I could feel myself levitating. And I was like, do I want to look down? Because I know if I look down, I'm probably just going to see nothing but the ground laying on, and I'm going to realize I'm tripping here. So I kind of decided to look over a little bit, and I look over, and I'm like 3.5, 4 feet off the ground. So I just kind of start giggling, like, oh man, what's this? What's going on here? And it started to dawn on me after a couple of minutes. This was not a hallucination. I was being levitated and being pulled up into the air by something. Whether it was a ship, I don't know. But after I got about 8 feet in the air, I just went, whoa, 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 stop, whoa, just freaked the fuck out. And I could feel myself like a pillow, just like a feather. And I just right back down where I was, right on the blanket, like nothing happened. And I tried a lot of times after that to get something like that to ever happen again, and it never did. So, again, whether just to answer the question here for you, and it's a wide scope question, not something that's very easy to answer, but that's really what it boils down to is, multidimensional entities, and through black magic stuff like I've talked about in the Spellcasters films with Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard, this ability to be able to MK Ultra, that's all the stuff the Nazis were doing it even before that. They were using LSD and black magic to try to create robotically controlled super soldiers. We mined their data and created MK Ultra after it, and then L. Ron then took stuff right out of the MK Ultra playbook word for word and started Scientology with it. But it's what it is, the ability to be able to access these spiritual realms. That's what demonic possession is, all of that, and have that non-material world be able to affect and manipulate the physical plane reality world, and vice versa. And right on time, here's an article that just came out, I think a week ago or so. The human brain sees the world as an 11-dimensional multiverse. Fucking-boom. That's what I'm talking about. I've been saying this for many, many years, especially with what I was talking about earlier with, how our brains are actually designed to see dimensions that we don't even know exist. New research suggests that the human brain is almost beyond comprehension because it doesn't process the world in 2 dimensions or even 3. No, the human brain understands the visual world in up to 11 different dimensions. The astonishing discovery helps explain why even cutting-edge technologies like functional MRIs have such a hard time explaining what's going on inside our noggins. In a functional MRI, brain activity is monitored and represented as a 3-dimensional image that changes over time. However, if the brain is actually working in 11 dimensions, looking at a 3D functional MRI and saying that explains brain activity would be like looking at the shadow of a head of a pin and saying that it explains the entire universe plus a multitude of other dimensions. The team of scientists, led by a group of scientists from the École Polytechnique Fédérale in Switzerland, detected the previously unknown complexities of the brain while working on the Blue Brain Project. What? The project's goal is to create a biologically accurate recreation of the human brain. Interesting name. Project Blue Book. That was like the U.S. Army's code name for their investigation into extraterrestrial craft. Project Blue Beam, holographic rapture, essentially. The holographic alien invasion and the holographic rapture all rolled up into one. Voice to skull technology, the whole boot. So isn't that interesting? So it took these guys who are working on a project to create a biologically accurate recreation of the human brain. It took those guys to find that out that, wait a minute, our brains actually could have the ability to actually access up to 11 different dimensions. Buckaroo Banzai only got to 8. But yeah, as soon as people understand that so much of our lack of understanding and so much of the manipulation of the truth that has gone on in the name of these, I don't know what you want to call it, the misrepresentation, I guess is the best term I can come up with. The misrepresentation of multidimensional realities and multidimensional entities. As far as we've come, we should be over these ancient and arcane explanations of, demons and angels as being the works of, God or the devil, and instead of multidimensional entities that exist all around us that, again, the powers that be are trying to keep us ignorant of, because at the upper echelons of the secret societies, the knowledge of how to manipulate these multidimensional realities to their favor is what they covet and what they want to keep from getting into the hands of you and I. Why is that? Well, as I've said for many years, everybody always wants to know what the solution is. The solution is to take this ancient knowledge and arcane knowledge that they are using and using to manipulate for evil against us, and take and learn how to use it in our own way and use it against them for the greater good. Because anything that you read in these ancient texts and these ancient things, none of it in there says this is supposed to be used for only for good, or this is supposed to only be used for pure evil. It doesn't. The information and the knowledge is neutral. How it is applied and how it is used is determined by the person who gets their hands on this information. So that's why the secret society structure was hijacked, so that only certain elite people could have access to this knowledge, so they could be used for the enslavement of mankind instead of for the freeing of all mankind as it was intended. You want to know what a solution is? You want to know how to fix this stuff? That's it. This is our fundraising week, folks. We got to reach our fundraising goal by Saturday to cover our operating costs, so please help us out and dump something in our 10-year anniversary fundraiser as well. I'm Josh Reeves. I'm your host. I'll see you next time. Take care.